When I first created my blog back, I don't know, months ago, I needed a name for it, and I had thought about it, and I named it Hoping Against the Darkness. Now, at the time, I thought, okay, well, I'll name it this because it shows that there's hope, that the darkness will go away, and that there's hope, within the darkness, for something better than the darkness to come from it. And that was kind of the gist of it, because I took a normal, traditional form of the definition of darkness and what that means, and applied it to the title. But at this point, having come as far as I have, I'm not sure that that's really the way I would define it now. In fact, if it would let me, I would totally change the name of the blog entirely, because that title doesn't fit anymore. Um, if, if I had to say, what the title would be, it would be more like Raging Within the Darkness, um, against the light, against the dying of the light. Well, okay, maybe not against the dying of the light, not only because that's someone else's quote, but because it's not like at this point that I want the light. And let me explain. So, during the day, everyone's awake, and everyone moves, and everyone does their own shit, and or they do other people's shit for them, and whatever. Um, but everybody's awake, everybody's moving, everybody's doing whatever it is that they're doing or not doing, failing or succeeding or whatever. Uh, but the true test of the people who really care and are really going to change things in the world and are really going to make a difference, here's how you tell. You look for the people who don't rush to go to bed. You look for the people who say, I'll go to bed when I get this done and it's completed and it's over. Excuse me. You look for those people because those people are dedicated. Those people have a drive. Those people want to do things that mean something in the end other than just, oh, hey, I punched the clock today from 9 to 5 or whatever and didn't even make in my full 8 hours, but who gives a damn because I'm going to get paid for it anyways, whether I do great work or mediocre work or crappy work in the end. But no, that's not the way it should be, but that's the way it is because that's what we've allowed it to be. No, I would much rather be within the darkness in this case, because within the darkness, all of the crazy people that act like that, that are two percenters, that don't really want to work, that don't really want to try, that don't really have a clear vision and a clear path that they're moving on, or somewhere that they're trying to get to, even if the path is not clear, some kind of clear goal, something that is truly above them and forces them to push themselves and pull themselves up out of whatever holes they may fall in. Those are the people that are going to succeed, and those are the people that, when it's in the middle of the night and they can't see anything else because it's pitch dark, in the middle of that night, they're still fighting and clawing for it and trying their best to get things done and to move along. Whereas the other folks, no, they've taken their 8, 9, 10 hours of sleep and they're good. Now, that's not to say that humans don't need sleep. Don't get me wrong, we do. And, I have been plenty guilty of loving my sleep for a long time, probably too long, when I could be getting up and doing other things or staying up and doing other productive things with my time to do more rather than less. So yeah, I would rather, survive within the night, partly also because it's quieter as well. because all the crazy nuts and idiots have shut the hell up and gone to bed, and there's nobody to make excess noise and tell you things that, you don't need to hear or shouldn't hear or don't want to hear. Now, I've heard often that nothing good happens after midnight. Well, I'm not really sure I believe that anymore either, because in order for people to truly revolutionize the way that the world works, you're going to have to stay up around the clock some of the time, and that means being up after midnight. And if that's the case, I don't have an official quote or record here, but if I had to guess, I would say that some of the greatest things that we have seen within our lifetime and will see are achieved based on, at least in part, because the person who achieved those things was up after midnight and did something totally awesome with that time, because it was a time that they could relax and focus on whatever it is that they're trying to achieve. Now, obviously, that does not mean that everybody is a genius and that everybody is going to invent something crazy awesome or whatever. I mean, good grief, I wish, that would be even more epic than it is now. But normally, that's not the way it works. So what about for the rest of us who aren't inventors and creators of, the multifaceted, super awesome shit? What do we do? Well, there are still things that we can focus on. I mean, I'm sure there's some goal that you have set for yourself somewhere along the way, or at least I would hope so. Something that you've said, hey, I'm going to learn how to do this, or I'm going to make sure that I finish this project or that project, or whatever. You've set some goal for yourself, and you've told yourself 1,000 times that you're going to do it. It's been your New Year's resolution for 10 years running, but 2 weeks into January, you always give up on it because it gets to be too fucking hard and you just can't do it anymore because you don't have the time and the resources and you don't think that you're qualified to do it, or that you don't have the right level of skill, or yada 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 yada, whatever the excuse may be. Let it go, throw it in the trash, take the trash out, dump it in the trash can outside, roll that shit to the end of the street and let somebody else pick that up and take that away because you don't need it. Stop telling yourself that. Stop settling for that. If you have some kind of goal, some kind of dream, something that you want to do, something that you want to achieve, work at it every day. Find time, make time. If you don't have time during the day, stay up a couple hours at night and work on it. It doesn't mean you have to be up all night, but set yourself half an hour, something. Take the time to work at it. Take the time to process it, to collect your thoughts at the end of the day and say, all right, I'm going to do this now. I'm going to set this time and I'm going to do this. And this is what this is going to be, because I'm telling you, if we all did that, if everybody who ever had some kind of dream, some idea, some theory, if we all sat down and did those things at some point during the day when there's no other distractions, when everybody else is gone because nobody else cares at that point of the day, then we would get so many things done that I can't even begin to tell you how much better it would get. Because I don't know, because it hasn't happened yet, because we haven't done it. So start doing it. Don't wait. Start now. Because if you wait, you'll never start. We keep waiting for that perfect moment to show up, to be like, oh, well, I'll do it tomorrow, I'll do it next week, I'll do it next month, I'll do it next year, I'll do it when I have time. No, you're not ever going to have the perfect amount of time or the perfect situation. You've got to start somewhere. Just start moving, start doing something, start putting those pieces together. Take one piece at a time, plug it in. You don't have to do the whole thing in a day. You don't have to do it all at once. You don't have to grab the big giant weight off of the shelf. Just take the little pieces that you can. Take each piece that you can find, put it somewhere where it goes. make it work. Then take the next piece, connect it to the stuff that you've already got, and by the time you get to the end of all your pieces, you will have built something that is much larger than any of the other pieces, or much larger than you thought you could build to begin with. But that's the whole point. By taking it piece by piece, we can build things that we didn't think we could do. We can achieve things that was like, oh my gosh, I didn't think I was even capable of that. Really? I can do that? Holy crap, like that's awesome. Let me do that again or something. That's how people get really good at this stuff. It's not going to happen overnight. People say it takes X number of hours or whatever. No, no, to get perfectly good at something. Well, guess what? To get started, you don't have to be perfectly good at something. You start at the crappiest, lowest level you possibly can and work up from there. Now, if you're going to tell me, Phil, I don't have anything like that, I don't have, some big grand idea or, challenge for myself or goal or whatever, I'm going to tell you right now, you're so full of cow shit, it's not even funny, because everybody has something like that. Now, we may not have thought about it for a long time. We may not have told anybody about it. We may not really want to ever address it to ourselves normally because, it gets so overwhelming, or we know we don't have time, or we start thinking that it's not possible because we're just not sure how it's going to get done. Well, stop thinking all of that and just start on it somewhere. Take that first step. Write that first sentence. Do something to start that out. Create something that you're going to be proud of. Everybody has an imagination. You just have to figure out how to use it. But if you don't use your imagination, then it's not going to work, because these are things that obviously haven't been created yet. So it's not like you can just go to Google and say, hey, give me the quick 5-minute version as to how to fix this or create this or do that or theorize this or whatever it is. There's not going to be, a book for dummies on that over at the bookstore. You're not going to be able to find it in any of the resources as to how exactly to do it. Sure, you can find general stuff and stuff maybe on the subject if it's a subject that's already exists. But if it's something truly new and different and revolutionary, you've got to just put in the time. You have the talent, you have the skills, because everybody has talents and skills that they can use for these sorts of things. You just have to take the time to figure out how those talents and skills work, and the only way that you're going to do that is if you take the time to sit down and work with them. Because if you don't work with the tools you have, then you will never be able to build anything, because you won't understand how they work. And if you do understand how they work, all you'll end up doing is creating a mess instead of a masterpiece.